All right, what was that guy's handle?
Lone Star Ball off-topic Discord.
One of the Lone Star Ball off-topic Discord?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know him, Shoopy?
Probably.
That looks like some of your doing there.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the Lone Star Ball off-topic Discord.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They're good people.
What about it?
Yeah.
You got a problem with that, Mike?
No,
Yeah, what
no,
the hell?
I just...
Something you want to say, bro?
No, not at all.
You wanna step
Not
to
at
this?
all. I'll step to this.
You want to go?
I'll step to this and give him a big hearty salute.
So here we go. This is the first ever episode of something we are calling General Topics. My name's Zane. I said we. I've got a co-host. His name's Steve. Steve, let him know.
How are you tonight, Zane?
I'm doing fantastic, buddy. You excited for this little endeavor we're getting into?
I am very excited. I hope that we can entertain some people, maybe make some people laugh, but at the very least, not bore you or offend you. Or then again, it could just be something that you fall asleep to on the couch. So that's a real possibility. I just want to put that out there right up front.
There might be a little boredom, and there might be a little offensiveness that happens. So prepare yourselves for that. And then I wanted to introduce the third person. His name's Clax. He will be on, I think, from time to time. He's not on this evening, but he's going to help us do all the behind-the-scenes stuff. So as far as editing, whatever we need edited, putting intros, outros in, stuff like that. So he's going to be a big part of this as well. And like I said, he'll jump on when his schedule allows. So we'll have him coming in too at some point. But anyway, so again, the name of this as of right now is General Topics, which is, very generic, as some might say. And
I think most might say. But
I think most might say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, if you shorten General Topics, you can get down to G&T, which is, gin and tonic, which is maybe my favorite summer drink you could ever have.
Yeah, that's more like it. Gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic. I love it. So, sometimes we might cozy up with a little gin and tonic and do this thing, and it'll be great. So, so what we want to do with this is just, like Steve said, kind of entertain people who want to listen. I think sometimes we just get in front of text too much, and we're in front of screens all day, every day, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why not bring the people something a little bit different they can enjoy for, half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever, something different. It's the things that, we've been talking about. I mean, you and I have known each other for what? Almost 15 years now? Yeah.
Has it really been that long?
2010 is when I sort of got into the group of friends that we have. I think you might have been a little bit after that, but we'll call it 10 to 15 years. And we've talked about the same shit over and over again. So why not hear it instead of read it, all day? Right. And like Steve, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we're both big sports junkies, so that will be a major topic conversation on here. Both football-aholics. We could probably both use an intervention, and it's only the second week of the season, because I know I've watched way too much football. And yeah, I mean, did you ask if there are football podcasts going?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would imagine.
I mean, I've never come across one, but maybe they're out there. Who knows? So yeah, it's going to be football. We'll do pop culture. We'll hit on some political stuff, not too much, nothing crazy. We're not going to get into right wing, left wing arguments or anything.
I think we should. I think that should be the whole show. Us just staking out arguments on the opposite sides of the spectrum and just yelling at each other for 45 minutes?
Should we switch
No,
formats
no.
right now and go straight political on this?
Yeah, in our first episode. See? We're
I think we
zigging.
should. I think we should. They said we should zag. We zigged.
There you go.
I love
No.
it.
Yeah, let's not do that.
But yeah,
Sports
so-
are more fun.
Oh, they're way more fun. So I think sports will obviously be the sort of overarching theme to this whole thing, but we'll talk about other stuff too. I know we've got a lot of stuff going on in our lives, with kids, relationships, just things like that. So we're going to talk about everything, right? So yeah, I think we can just sort of jump into it, and I'm gonna go to you first on this. I know this is sort of your area of expertise, but college football. I think Texas is back.
Yeah. I mean, as silly as that term is, they seem to be to a point now where they do have the depth and the talent and the coach, and that was pretty impressive on Saturday.
I mean, Michigan, they lost a bunch of people, right? I think they had like 10 or something people drafted that were, contributors to the team. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy, right? Who didn't show a whole lot, but was still, we used a first-round draft pick, right?
Yeah, he was, surprisingly.
Yeah, which, again, he didn't show a whole lot, but, you have to have some skill, obviously, at the D1 level to do that. When I say that, I mean win a national fucking championship. Especially when you're playing teams like Georgia, the big dogs, the SEC, I guess is what I should say. But that being said, we knew they were going to lose a lot of people, and they lost their head coach, right? He's at the Chargers now, I think.
Sure, yeah.
So that a lot of turnover. But I guess counterpoint, Texas brought back like damn near everybody. Right.
Well, so I think Michigan actually had either 12 or 13 go in the draft, and Texas had 11. It wasn't our quarterback, and we did return our entire. I say we. See, I'm already talking. And we did return our entire offensive line, which Michigan lost a big chunk of. But yeah, not to go too much in the weeds in it, but it's a pretty big deal to walk into the big house and not be shook at all, and not just beat them, but dominate. So, yeah, I think Texas is, they're number 2 in the country, and I think that's worthwhile.
I think they're number 2 for a reason. They just got talent all across the ball. But I think, and for those who don't know, Steve is as big of a Cowboys fan as I am. Which you also may not know.
Longhorn fan.
I'm sorry.
No.
What did I say?
You said Cowboys.
Sorry. No. NFL Cowboys fans, not Oklahoma State. Sorry for the confusion, and not Wyoming either. But as big of a NFL Dallas Cowboys fan that I am, Steve is a bigger UT fan. So I want to just get that out there first. And when I say things that offend him, it's in good fun, but also UT does suck. But you said going into the big house, it's a big deal to go win. I think for any team, it's a big win, but especially the last, 10 years?
Decade, a little over a decade. Texas has been down in the doldrums.
UT going anywhere and winning. UT winning at home against a good school was never a sure thing, right?
Yeah.
If you guys were playing a top 10 school in Austin, you probably were going to lose that game, and you probably knew that going in. You had hope, but it was tough for you guys because after you guys had McCoy, who just retired from the NFL, actually, I think this year,
and made his broadcast debut this past Sunday.
Oh, is he on the NFL now?
He is with his high voice, and he was good though. He does have a high voice. It's a bit of a shocker.
What network is he on?
I don't know. I saw him on the Sunday on the.
Is he doing like pregame or is he doing actual like?
No. He's the color guy.
Oh, yeah. You know me. I'm an NFL Red Zone guy on Sunday, so I typically don't know who's doing what game. And my kids play football on Sundays now, and so I typically miss like one of the windows on Sundays. So I moved to Colorado a couple years ago, and in Texas, when your kids play football in the fall, I think everybody has games on Saturdays. Even though college football is a big deal, it's not as big as the NFL. But here, nobody gives a shit about the NFL or even like football in general, right? And so they decided that they should play youth football on Sundays, which is great.
It would never happen in Texas. That is funny. No, they would never schedule a league to play their games on a Sunday.
And so, like, I mean, we had 2 games last week, at 12 and at 1. And so football, which I'm still not, I've been here for 2 years, but I'm still not used to the fact that the NFL starts at 11 a.m. here. But when you've got a game at noon, well, that means you've got to get to the football field at 11:15, 11:20, something like that. So you literally, I watched Scott Hansen on Red Zone say, the 7 hours commercial-free football, and then turn the TV off, and we're out the door. And then I get
just a tear streaming down your face.
Yeah, and then you get no service anywhere anymore, I feel like, and so I can't watch anything, and I'm obviously watching my kids play, and so I'm not focused on it. And then you get home just in time to get the 2 o'clock or the 2:30 slate on, which is good this week or last week because of the Cowboys. They started at like 2:30, so that was fine. But I'm missing so many games a week, which just sucks.
Yeah, they're at that age, I'm happy to say that I neglected my children this past Sunday. We watched like one show, but I said I'll be back with y'all next week. But this is opening NFL, and they told me they hated me and screamed at me like they always do. But that happens no matter what I say. So.
Well, sometimes you gotta piss someone off on the patio, That's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so I mean, Texas is a big deal, and I think them getting back into sort of relevancy, I guess, is a good thing. I think overall for college football, I'm not. I could give a shit about UT for the most part, but I think it is sort of a good thing that they're better now. And it seems like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm way off track. So we mentioned Colt McCoy. You said in the NFL now doing his broadcast thing. But I mean, since him, you guys really haven't had anybody at quarterback.
No, I mean
at UT.
No. We had Sam Ellinger there for a good 4 years, but he wasn't a passer. It wasn't. We were limited. With him back there, but so pretty incredible. Ewers is going to be a first round dude, and Manning. I mean, we'll see what happens with him, but pretty good spot right now. Pretty good spot. But I agree. I was going to say, I do agree with like you said, any blue blood that jumps back up and jumps in. Number one, you're probably going to have a lot of fans of that team. Number two, you can hate that team. It gives a lot of fans a reason to watch games just so they can root for Texas to lose, or Michigan, or if Nebraska jumps back up, So that's sports hate is healthy and fun, and it helps you really get into the game when you have
Nebraska's another one of those. Yeah, Nebraska's another one of those teams that obviously they dismantled CU on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I would like for them to get back. And I know Matt Rule has a history of sort of building programs. He was at Baylor after the whole Art Briles deal. And they were kind of going down that SMU route of the 80s where there was going to be nobody. Because, I mean, they lost, I think, almost every scholarship player or a bunch anyway. Anybody that you would have wanted to keep, they were all gone because they got that free out. Obviously, this is before the NIL. I mean, he built them back up to a team that was competitive in the Big 12.
That that's one of the greatest coaching jobs in a long time, to bring that, like you said, that program back from almost the death penalty, and like 2-3 years later, he has him fucking rocking.
Just competing, and then I think he's going to do the same thing for Nebraska. What was it Scott Frost? That was who was there, right?
Yeah. That didn't work out so well.
Yeah, well, and it's not UT hatred, I promise, but I told you these things when they happened. When you take a guy who's only known how to coach at a small program, sometimes the transition going from a G5 team to a Power 5 team can be tough, right?
Yeah,
and you just I think it takes a different person to lead those different athletes, because I think we can all agree that the majority of the athletes on the top tier Power 5 programs are a different caliber, mentally, physically, and they have different sort of needs, I guess, to get them to prepare and to produce like you want them, or you think that they should produce at. Whereas the G5 guys just, they've always been talented for sure. I mean, they're probably the best player at their high school,
Right.
For some reason they just don't have every tool. And so you just kind of let them go out there and play. But when you get to those Power 5 schools, one, you've got players that are different. And then two, it's all the scrutiny that you're under, because you're on ESPN all the time. You're on College Game Day. You're taking interviews. No one's interviewing, the Colorado State head coach, but
no, why would they? But the UT coach, OU, Michigan, Alabama, those guys are getting talked to all the time, right? Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
they also have more entitled players, because the higher you go, the more that player's been pampered all his life, and so that coach has to come in there, swinging his nuts and make everybody know that he is the man, and you have to have a certain level of confidence and intelligence to pull that off.
Yeah, and where the group of 5 guys, like I said, were the best athlete or best football player at their high school, the guys you're coaching at UT, those were the best players at their position in the state, or the nation.
Right. You take like Arch Manning at Texas, or you take you playing baseball for Southlake, that's just a totally different type of athlete, Zane.
I am aware of that. That's very fair. Let's not bring that up again.
Well, I was just scrawny cornerback on a 3A team that couldn't hold the starting job. So
you probably had more teeth than everybody else on your team did, though.
Okay, yes, I grew up in East Texas. There's some dental hygiene issues there.
There's a lot of issues out there.
Oh my God! That's what the podcast should be about. Just me talking about East Texas for an hour. Yeah.
Gosh.
Just a short notice, and I've told you this before. Our only daycare in town was named the Kids Country Corral, spelled with a K. Right big up there, and they did not take any state money, so they wouldn't have to take any minority kids. True story. And that was in the late 80s in East Texas.
Oh my goodness. I can't even fathom a world where that is possible. Although I guess like Mississippi and Alabama still exist.
Oh yeah, that's modern day. I mean, they hadn't even made it to that point yet. They just have like a KKK stand set up on the town square, and everybody's cool with it.
They still have the separated water fountains.
Oh yeah.
Dude, there's a corner up here. Speaking of the, I don't want to keep speaking about the KKK, but there's a corner like a mile and a half from our house that over the last month they've set up this huge like Trump tent, and they sell all the flags and all the stuff, and it's like, Coloradoans for Trump, women for Trump, MAGA, all the crap. And it's we're one of the bluest counties in America, and so it's so weird to see that here.
So they're just setting y'all straight. Y'all aren't seeing the light, so they're there to help y'all out.
Well, we're straying from Jesus, Steve.
Strained from Jesus?
Straying.
Oh, straying. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we're getting away
Yeah.
from him. You know, we got to bring him back, and I mean, Trump is going to help us do that. You know,
Obviously. What? There's no more pious man than Trump.
I mean, he's got his own Bible. What other president has ever had his own Bible?
That's a great point. And his has the Constitution in it and Lee Greenwood.
That's a singer, right?
Yeah. Proud to be an American.
This is a
know that
no
song.
singing podcast.
Well,
We're gonna
you
get
did-
we're gonna
you
get
didn't
that.
tell me that. You didn't tell me that.
I should have put that in the bylaws.
Violence.
And then going back, this is not going to be a UT podcast. I promise to the listeners out there, if there are any, which there won't be, but there might be. Who
Yep.
knows? But I do want to bring it back to UT for one last point that you brought up earlier. Quinn Ewers? Nope, not Quinn Ewers. Sorry. Arch Manning.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe he didn't or hasn't transferred from UT. Is he that comfortable? I guess because I mean,
Yeah.
I think he can play literally just next year and then declare.
No. Well, yeah, he could. He could play just next year and declare, and he might possibly.
Like
do
if he
that.
throws for 4,000 yards and 50 touchdowns and five, and just does everything, he could declare, right? If he wanted to. He's old enough
And-
now, right?
Yeah, he will after next year for sure. I mean, he can after next year, but I mean, he's just different than any other recruit. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but his family has so much money, and they're all in this little team Manning to set him up for success, and that's why they went to Sark and his offensive game plan. And what's the rush? He's getting paid, who knows, $4 million a year in NIL right now.
Not that the money matters to them, though.
No, exactly. But, they always say that you need a certain amount of starts in football before you're ready for the NFL. So, hell, why not stay 2 seasons and get, 25, 30 games under your belt and step in ready instead of time right now in the NFL,
No, I think it's great because he's kind of, obviously he's taking NIL money where it comes in because who's going to say no to that, right? But he was at Ohio State first, right? Or am I messing
You're
that
talking
up?
about Ewers.
No,
Ewers.
where was Archie? Was he somewhere or was he always UT?
Yeah, we got him straight out of high school. He was the number
Okay.
one recruit.
He never transferred. Okay, I thought he transferred too. Ewers was Ohio
No.
State guy?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, that's
Just
right.
for the one semester. But
South Lake boy. You know
Yeah.
us. We'll take the money whenever we can get it.
hell yeah.
But no, I think it's nice to see a kid like that who, we got to see him in week 1 against CSU for I guess his first ever extended period of time playing in a game, and you can't tell much against CSU when it's the fourth quarter and you're up by 50 points. But kid looks good, but what I was going to say is I like the fact that he, while taking the money, he's bringing it back to sort of like an old school type feel where you didn't just transfer out every year or every other year. You just stayed somewhere. You backed up the guy who was 2 or 3 years older than you. You learned the system. Hopefully the offensive coach is still there. The plan is still in place. They don't change much. And as soon as the guy graduates and goes to the NFL, you step right in, and it's like you didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of cool. Because
It is kind of old school.
Because we had Joe Burrow, he transferred.
Yeah.
And I could go down. My brain's blank right now, but all the big guys seem like they just transfer now.
That's fine. You don't have any problem with that. I don't have any problem with that. They go and they find a better spot. It doesn't always work out. Like with DJ, Along.
Oh, he's been at 4 schools, right?
Yeah. But a lot of times it does work out. Guys go and get that year in a solid program and make their way to the NFL.
He might suck, by the way.
Who's that? DJ?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's brutal. I don't know if you watched any of that game, but that was ugly.
I don't know. Clearly the coaches at different schools think highly of him, but he just doesn't perform at all.
No, He never has.
Never has. He's a practice guy. He's not a game guy.
Right.
And then I guess speaking about sucking, so I'm in Colorado by way of the DFW area in Texas. Steve is in that area still. So I've adopted Colorado State as sort of my football team to root for on a weekly basis. Took the family to the game last Saturday. We played UNC, but not that UNC, the University of Northern Colorado, who I'm not even sure that they know they've got a football team there. It was a sellout for the game, which is the first sellout they've had in like 15 years at our stadium.
Why is that? What was there a reason?
CU comes to town this week, so
Yeah.
it's CU, CSU. It's the first time they've played in Fort Collins in I think like 19 years, something about that length. They knew that they were going to have so many people who wanted to go to specifically that game, that in order to get tickets to that game, you had to buy season tickets, because they knew they weren't going to sell individual tickets for that game. So they just, I mean, that almost every single seat in the stadium is sold out for every game
That's
this year.
That's crazy. So Dion's having an effect on an entirely different college and their ticket sales. That's insane.
He is, but it was. I mean, we went to. I think in the last 2 years, we've been to probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 home games here, and they've always been like, the bottom. It's a stadium that seats about 35,000 or so, and it's just the 2 bowl system, right? So you got the bottom bowl and the top bowl. It's nothing fancy or anything. And the bottom bowl is usually full for any game. And then the top is just, very sparse. But it was really fun to see the stadium just packed. And they're so excited about this that last week they actually opened up ticket sales for standing room only for the game. And they started there were 2 different tiers of standing room. I guess one is in a worse spot and one's in a better spot. They were $100 a piece for the worst spot, and they were $200 a piece for the good spot. Just stand.
That is nuts.
So, and I wanted to get into that a little bit, and we can just keep doing it now. It's fine. But yeah, no, it's exciting. We've got a head coach here. He's been here for a couple of years now, and I think this isn't a huge news story. We don't have to talk about it a lot. But we've got a quarterback who against. So, if you don't know, CSU opened up against UT this year. UT kicked the shit out of them, 52-0. It was not a fun game to watch for me. I'm sure for Steve it was fun for you, I bet.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, honestly.
and then rolling into Michigan, I bet the first 2 weeks of the season for you have just been fantastic. But yeah, it wasn't that much fun. But the quarterback actually is pretty good. He actually was the backup last year, and I think 3 or 4 games in, our starter just was terrible. Couldn't throw a pass downfield. So they put this kid in, and our offense just sort of went to a different level. And so they decided to roll with him. He's back the starter this year. And then we actually do have an NFL guy at wide receiver for us. His name's Trey Horton.
Yeah, I read about him leading up to the game.
Yeah, he's actually I'm not talking about a first round talent or anything, but he'll definitely be a guy that somebody picks up, on day 2 or 3 of the draft. And he may never contribute in the NFL, but he could definitely be, a slot guy and contribute a little bit here and there, like a 3 or 4 catch guy a game, something like that. But the opening kick, or we kicked off last week. Northern Colorado ended up punting, and the first touch of the game, he caught it, ran the punt back for a touchdown. So we were up 7-0 in 3 minutes, and we hadn't run one offensive play yet. So the kid's electric, right? He's just fun to watch. And again, UNC is nothing. It might as well be a community college, right? But he's fun to watch. But it's exciting to see the program. We got here at a good time where they had been bad forever. I mean, I used to remember watching the CU-CSU game on TV when I was a kid. It looked like it was fun, and the teams were kind of competitive with each other. And then they haven't played much at all. because CU went to a different level and CSU just kind of stayed behind. You know, they're on the level of like a UNT, you know, SMU, who obviously is better now, but they're trying to build something, and so it's fun. So the quarterback and the receiver, like I said, are two probably best offensive players, and they both turned down. We don't know what school it was. We don't know the details or anything, but apparently some school offered them both $600,000, which for a kid going to CSU is a lot to transfer, but they offered them each $600,000 to transfer to a different school, and they both turned it down to come back to CSU because of what they're trying to do here. I know that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
And I think, you know, and it's like our basketball teams are pretty good, or our women's volleyball team is really good. So I think it's just one of those things where if you can just sort of get the momentum in the right direction, you know, you can at least, you know, we're never going to be UT, we're never going to be A&M, schools like that. But if we could be Washington State, something like that, that'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just something to do.
You should be the AD, man. I'm buying into your vision here. You should. Have you ever thought about it, being the athletic director there?
I would love to do that. To be honest with you, I'd probably rush at it too. You know me.
Crush it.
I can talk to anybody about anything.
Yeah, it's true. You're talking to a podcast about CSU football.
I'm telling you, talk about anything.
Yeah.
So that'll be my end of my CSU sort of story, because there's nothing else to talk about other than the fact that I really hope we beat CU this weekend, because I want Dion to just be done after this year. I'm tired of Dion talk. I'm glad it slowed down. Last year, the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season were just awful. You couldn't watch pregame without hearing about Dion. And his kid at quarterback, I think he's fine. I think he's overhyped because he's Dion's kid. I don't think if he was didn't have a last name, I think it would just be like, kid's fine.
You're probably so. It's hard to tell because the offensive line is so terrible that he doesn't have a chance. It's hard to even judge the guy. I mean, when he gets outside the pocket, he makes some really nice throws. But yeah, it's a team of 3 or 4 stars, and I don't mean that by recruiting ranking, but like star players, and the rest of the team is just not at a Big 12 level, or it may not be at a Mountain West level. They probably have talent there, but it's not going to gel. It's not going to have time to gel, and I think it's becoming to an end because Dion's there to hype his kid, and when Sador goes to the NFL next year, I don't think there's any way he's going to be there next year. He's not recruiting. He's not going to high schools. He's not using his fame to get players in the door from high schools, freshmen, and there's a reason for that. I don't think has any plans to be there long.
0% chance he's there next year.
No,
because
one way or the other.
Because I think Travis Hunter is one of the best players in college football, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he's allowed to go to the NFL next year too.
I think he is. Yes,
he might have one more year. Okay, if he's in the draft, then Dion's not coming back because there's no one left to coach. I guess his younger son, but his younger son has no hype around him. And I think he's actually got hurt and had surgery, I think, too. So he might stay for his younger kid, but you can tell where, sort of which kid he favors, I guess. And it's Shedeur.
Yeah. He's the most talented one. Fine. I think he might be a good NFL quarterback, but I don't know.
It's just hard
to tell. He reminds me a lot of Cam Williams.
Yeah. It's a good point.
Yeah, of Caleb Williams. He does. Yes.
Yeah, he had a rough first week. We'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah.
So I'm here in Fort Collins. CSU is sort of my adopted team. Steve's the UT guy, but my lifelong team in college has always been Notre Dame. Steve?
Yes?
They got issues?
Yeah, that one hurts, man. That one hurts a lot. I don't know how you come back from that this year.
And I mean, it's Notre Dame, so they're going to have the name factor. with the 12-team playoff now, they can lose most likely 2 games a year, at least 1 game a year, and probably still make the playoff just because they're Notre Dame. But you beat A&M on the road at night, and everyone thinks every year A&M's going to, kind of like UT the last 10 years, this is the year. We got our guys. We got our coach. We are set. And then it's, actually, we're dog shit again. But you beat them. So you think, okay, if A&M is back and they're better and we should be a top 10 team, top 5 team, whatever it is, this is great momentum. And I know, like, obviously playing against A&M and then playing against Northern Illinois is not the same thing. But I don't know if Marcus Freeman gets those guys hyped up enough for the small teams, because they lost to Marshall last year too.
Yeah. Well,
like they
obviously
just
didn't
show up,
and you saw Northern Illinois push up front, and you saw him with that running back who was taking them out. I don't know, man. I still can't believe that happened. It was.
We were doing something. I don't even know where I was. I was with my kids somewhere, so I didn't really have the game on. I was following along a little bit. What the hell was I doing on Saturday? At my weekends, I don't know. It's just all kid centric now. You know the feeling.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't watch it. But I saw that they had lost, and I was like, "What are we doing? It makes no sense. It's Northern Illinois. You can't name one player who's ever played there before."
You know what's been happening with Notre Dame forever, and actually, I guess it hasn't been happening, is them and skill players. And if you think about the skill players in the NFL that are from Notre Dame, Kyron Williams broke through last year, so that's a very recent one. But other than that, who is the best Notre Dame skill player in the NFL right now?
That's safety.
Well, no, skill player. I'm talking about skill players.
Oh, okay.
Like Amon-Ra St. Brown's brother, what's his name? Aquinas. Didn't he go to Notre Dame?
Yeah, which he's a role player. He's not.
Yeah, right. So how can you be a program that big and with that tradition, and they do get good recruits? I think that's the question you got to be asking yourself: is how are they not putting more dudes in the NFL? Leonard, their new quarterback. I mean, he didn't look great the other day, but if there's skill out there, he should be able to spread the ball around. But
are UT and Notre Dame the same program the last 15 years?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, Notre Dame's had more success.
They get all the 5 stars that they want, that they need. They get every guy in the transfer portal. I mean, Notre Dame has a new quarterback every year, which goes back to the demanding thing of staying. But they get new talent every year. They get all these guys, and both programs just never live up to the hype.
Yeah, they don't.
There's
develop
hype
them
every year. I mean, Notre Dame and Texas are ranked in the top 10 damn near every year preseason.
Yeah.
And one of them is guaranteed to finish outside the top 10 every year.
Yep, just fall on their face. Yeah, they're just not developing the players. It was the same thing with Texas. A big-time recruit would come in, and he would just disappear. Because,
you guys didn't have a single player drafted for a couple of years, I think.
No, it was just 1 year, but it was 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, no players drafted.
And you guys should have at least one player in the first round every year drafted.
Yeah.
Whether it's a left tackle or an edge or whoever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Someone should get drafted in the first round.
Just the odds. You would think you would have somebody in there, but
it's crazy. But yeah, so I couldn't watch the game Saturday, so that really sucked. And then I was thinking about it, and you are an odd person.
Mm-hmm.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I think I do.
So you've got your kids on the weekend. UT's playing a game. That game starts at 11 a.m. your time. You want to take your girls to hike or bike or to the playground or whatever the hell it is you do with your girls, right?
It's Saturday. We're going to do stuff.
Yeah. What do you do about the UT game that's on TV at that time, though?
Well, you have these DVRs now.
Uh
You can record the game.
huh.
And yeah, I don't wear any Texas gear out for that exact reason.
Uh huh.
Because somebody's going to come and talk to me. And I'm not on my phone a lot anyway, so just ignore all that. And yeah, you get home and you watch it at your leisure. And it's great. I don't care what anybody else is doing.
It's one of the worst
drives
deals
me
we got
crazy.
going on. It sucks. You can't do that.
It's one of the worst deals we've got going on.
You can't do that. I'm sorry. Nobody watches live television anymore. As far as like, if you watch Better Call Saul or whatever show it is, no one's watching that shit live anymore because everything's streaming anyway now. You watch it whenever the hell you want to. You cannot watch sports on delay. I'm sorry. There is no reason to watch sports on delay ever. You need to know what's going on in real time, or forget about it.
No, and it's not just the UT game. I'll do that with all games. The NFL, I'll start a game 45 minutes later, and I'm not the only one. We're out there, Zane. Whether you like it or not, we're out there, and we're living our lives and living the dream. And you don't watch commercials. You don't deal with all that bullshit. And plus, it's more a limited window. I can watch a game in like 2 hours and be done with it, and then be off doing other shit. And that other shit is going to watch another football game.
Yeah, that's what I started.
See how efficient I am?
No, you're the opposite of efficient. Inefficient.
Yeah. You just want to shoot the shit during the games, and you're mad because you're like, I can't talk to Steve. He's behind. Are you gonna watch it today or next week? That's what you sound like. Zane.
It's a valid question, though, because I never know if I can text you or not during the game when you're kicking the shit out of my school's team.
Yeah, if I'm kicking the shit out of your school's team, you can text me anytime you want.
Yeah, I think I texted you once a couple years ago, and you're like, "Thanks, man. Haven't been watching the game," and I felt bad. So I know to always ask, when are you watching it? So I know when I can text you things. And I never text spoilers anymore because that's just an asshole thing to do.
Yeah, I do appreciate that.
Well, I'm a good friend sometimes. So I think that might do it for college football. I was looking at the slate earlier this morning. There's not any good games going on this week, so I don't think we need to waste any time talking about what's coming up this week. If we feel like doing it, we can do it another day or something, but there's just nothing that jumps off the page to me. I think there's like one, maybe two games that are ranked first ranked, but nothing good. So NFL?
Yeah, how about that? Where to start? Who really impressed you? Player, team? You want to stand out?
Two things. One, running backs are plug and play.
Yeah.
They have been for a little bit, but I think nothing proved that more than watching San Francisco on Monday night. What's that guy's name? Mason?
Uh-huh.
They ran the exact same. I guarantee you they had the exact same offense that they were going to have with McCaffrey or without McCaffrey, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good system. Like you said, I think that there's a lot of spots in that San Francisco system that are like that. I mean, I think the quarterback's plug and play there for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, who the hell is Brock Purdy? Nobody.
Yeah, right. I mean, Trey Lance didn't work there because he truly sucks, but you get a competent dude that's accurate, and you can run that San Fran offense. But yeah, I know. I think you're absolutely right.
So to answer your question, the team that impressed me most, I think, because I think everyone expected the Jets to get off to a big start this year with Rodgers being back for a full season, hopefully, and then San Francisco just said, "No, we got this. This is
just
our
dominator."
Everyone loves the Chiefs. The Chiefs are big time. They've done it for 2 years in a row. No team's ever won 3 championships in a row. I think San Francisco might be the best team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I think they are. And I think they will be going into the playoffs. And really, truly, I wish they would pull one off sometime. But KC was not great last year, and you can go over and over on this, but it's the Mahomes factor. But as far as the most talented team, the team that could win most likely to win every week. Yeah, that's the 49ers, no doubt.
I think they're the best. I mean, I think it's honestly right now for me, it's a two-team race, and it's San Francisco in the NFC, and it's Kansas City in the AFC, which is not breaking news, and we're not going to, unearth anything that and no one else is talking about. But those are the best teams.
Well, I mean, other than the Cowboys, but yeah, those other two are right behind the Cowboys.
Are they good this year, or
Yeah.
are the Browns just suck ass?
I don't know. I think the defense is really freaking good, right? It was good last year, and
They fly around.
They have linebackers. How big is that? You have actual linebackers.
Yeah, I'm tired of these white dudes that they get that their necks get hurt every other game and they're out for 6 weeks at a time.
All right,
they just
that's only one
suck.
white linebacker.
But no, like they just fly, and I think it's Zimmer, right? He's the DC this year. It's his first year there. I mean, Dan Quinn he's a hell of a DC. I think he's better DC than a head coach, and I think some guys are just built that way, where you can be a better coordinator than you can be a head coach. Because I think like I mentioned earlier, from going to a G5 to a Power 5 college can be different. I think going from coordinator to head coach is just a different mindset. But like Quinn, Zimmer, those guys are just better coordinators than they are head coaches. Wade Phillips is a good example of that too, where they have the one thing that they do really well, and just let them do that and go. And the Cowboys defense is just going to be a problem, I think. The first 6 or 7 weeks of the schedule for the Cowboys is not easy. But after watching them against the Browns, if the Browns aren't as bad as they looked on Sunday, it could be a 5-2 team after 7 weeks.
Yeah, it was impressive. I will say this. Deshaun Watson looked terrible, and part of that is because of the Cowboys, but they had both tackles out at one point in the game. So you had DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah just dominating the edges. But yeah, like I said, the fact that they have Overshawn in there, and they have the other linebacker that they got from somewhere who's been around forever. He was really good yesterday. That's what they were lacking last year. They were so...
This is the podcast you come to for in-depth analysis, by the way. That guy's been around forever. That's what you're going to get with this thing, okay, guys?
No. Right. Big guy, strong.
He's fast.
Fast football player, man. Yeah. But, I think so. And then the offense, no reason it shouldn't be great. I mean, running back is kind of ridiculous, but everywhere else is solid.
How's that first run for Zeke, by the way, where he fucking jumped over that guy?
Couldn't believe that.
I think he was just trying to prove a point. I think he was just like, hey, I'm still 22.
Right.
What's crazy is he's still in his 20s, and he is so done. But, that first run kind of got me off the couch a little bit.
Yeah. Like old Zeke. He's still in his 20s? Really?
I think he's 29. I could be wrong about that. We need to have Clax here as our lookup guy. We need a lookup guy. Maybe next week he'll be the lookup guy. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, we look good. And I mean, as much shit as Dak takes from everybody in the league, he's a top 10 quarterback by every metric, I think, or most metrics. And I know it's the Cowboys fandom sort of, I don't know, mindset where, we shit on Tony Romo for a decade. Everybody hates Dak. I mean, shit. Aikman was 1-15 his rookie year. Everybody hates everybody if they don't win a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just exaggerated in Dallas. But, I mean, Dak, I've always had sort of like a little bit of, I don't really like Dak sometimes, but then he does things and you're like, yeah, he's pretty damn good, actually.
Yeah. No, he's really good. And yeah, I know, it doesn't translate to playoff wins, and that's absolutely true, but there's so many problems with this franchise, and Defense fell apart late last year going to the playoffs, and the margins are so small in the NFL, and you can't have a franchise that doesn't have a true leader, and that leader has to be the head coach. And you can't have an owner undercutting him at every turn. It's never going to work. It's not. The synergy isn't right, the culture isn't right, and it never will be. So yeah, good luck, Zane. And then
Thanks,
when he
man.
dies, let's get into Steven. No,
Fuck.
uh,
That's what sucks. Like, Steven's never going to sell that franchise either.
no. And apparently he's one of those big. He does a lot of the wheeling and the dealing, and he's a guy that wants to win those contract battles and come out on top. And that's just not how it works. It's the next dude in line, and if he's really good, you pay him.
Yeah, I do think he would be more open to the idea of getting a GM at some point. But
More than Jerry.
Jerry's never done it. But I
Yeah.
think he's more open to it, at least, just because, like, I think at some point you have to sort of, kind of do a little bit of self-reflection and say, we haven't won shit in 30 years. Maybe it's us. Maybe
Let's
we
hope
should-
so.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Well, yeah, let's hope. But anyway, I do think they're a playoff team this year. I'm not saying they're going to win the East or anything. Although Jalen Hurts, that guy, I think Jalen Hurts is the person or the quarterback that a lot of Cowboys fans think Dak is, where it's up and down. I think Dak's a lot more steady, where he kind of has a floor that's above Jalen Hurts' floor, and maybe Hurts has a higher ceiling. Maybe. I don't know if that's true, but I think
He brings so much with his legs.
Yeah. And Dak's just not a good runner. I mean, he cramps up sometimes.
Yeah, that's
Where's
not
Bones?
his game.
Where's bone sticking out of his leg? Just a cramp.
And that's a pretty good, sign that he's not the best runner in the world for sure. when you end a run with a bone sticking out of your leg, it says a lot about you, I think.
But if I had to pick a better thrower and a better person in the pocket, I'm picking Dak every time. I think when Dak came into the league, I would have said no because Dak was not accurate, but I think he's worked on that a lot. But he's a better pocket quarterback, yeah?
Oh, man. Compared to Hurts, absolutely. And he's up there. You talk about top 10. How high is he in a pocket passer? I mean, he's an accurate guy, and he can run that offense.
Yeah.
Tell the player.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go.
I need that to stop immediately.
Yeah. Just anything else? Just come up with something else?
Anything else. Like, I mean, Omaha got old after a year.
Yeah, you should mix it up.
But yeah, here we go.
Right, you did that last year. It's old news.
Ugh. That's my least favorite thing about Dak. Which, if your least favorite thing about your quarterback is you don't like his cadence, I think you're doing okay.
Yeah, I think you're doing all right. Yeah, we'll see where they go, man. I don't know. I really don't know much about this team. I think Cleveland really shit the bed yesterday, but Cowboys caused a lot of it again. Yeah, so I think let's call it there for our sports stuff. I wanted to get into one thing before we call it a podcast. I know we're kind of going, I don't think we have any idea how long these are going to go. And I think, like I said earlier, the plan is to maybe do one of these a week. I think we're going to try and record on Tuesdays, get it out Wednesday or Thursday, whenever Clax has a chance to sort of put it together for us. So that's sort of the plan going forward. So we'll always have like the sports weekend updates and things, and then kind of want to get into some other stuff as well that just Steve and I like to talk about. We text each other pretty frequently. We talk a lot, and so we just have things that kind of go on in life that sometimes you don't know what to do. We're adults, but I think even sometimes adults need other adults' advice. And I haven't really asked many people about this, and I'm not sure what to do. So I kind of wanted to get into it, if that's cool with you. Yeah, absolutely.
We moved here a couple of years ago to Colorado, like I said, a couple of times already. I'm going to say it again. But we've got a neighbor across the street who is, he's got a son who's my kid's age. I've got two twin boys. They're all 7. They play on the same baseball team together. Don't go to the same school, but they play outside all the time. together, and we always see his parents, and we like the parents enough. There's nothing. They're people that you could hang out with and not be like, I wish my kid wasn't friends with this kid because I don't want to hang out with his parents. But they're good people. So over Labor Day, so like 8 days ago or so, we were talking a couple days before that. We were just hanging out by the pool, drinking some beers, and he was like, you play golf, right? I said, yeah, I play golf. He's like, you want to play golf soon? And I said, yeah. I said, I'm off on Monday, obviously. It's Labor Day. He's like, let's go play 9 holes Monday. So we played Monday. It was a great time. And then we were kind of driving back home, and we had made plans with, hey, tentatively, let's play golf on Friday. And I was like, absolutely. That's when I usually play golf. I typically take afternoons off on Fridays, so I've got time if I'm not overwhelmed at work or anything. So I usually play on Fridays. So made the plans. Hadn't talked to him all week. The way my house sits and the way his house sits, from the office in my house, I've got my windows open in the morning and I can see into their backyard. So, Texas, you guys have like those 8-foot privacy fences, right? Like 6 to 8 feet, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I saw yours, and it's like a 2-foot picket fence where you can see everything. No, maybe that was.
Yeah, so you've seen them. They're like 4 foot tall, and they actually go horizontal, not even vertical. So it's just an entirely different experience. I think people here just don't care about privacy as much as Texans do. I mean, there's fewer pools, of course, things of that nature. So there's just not much need for privacy. And I think it allows neighbors to sort of talk to each other, right?
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah, so I'm trying to say this in like the least creepy way I can, because I don't want it to sound like I was like spying on my neighbor, right? But I can look out one of the windows of my office, and I can see straight into his backyard. And they've got a little deck. And you've seen my back porch. It's a good like 10 by 15 back porch. He's got the same one, but his is actually built up a little bit, so it's elevated, like maybe by 4 or 5 feet. So I can see everything that goes on in their backyard, right? When I look out on Thursday morning at like 7:30, I see my neighbor out there on his porch, and he's got his head in his hands for like 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. I don't want to exaggerate the length of time, but it was at least 10 minutes he was doing this. And I thought, that's awkward. And then I remembered back to playing golf on the Monday before, and I remember him saying, I have a month off of work due to a like medical leave of absence from work. And I thought, okay, we're not like boys or anything, Mm-hmm. We're not that close. I mean, I know his kids and I know his wife, and we're friendly and everything, but we're not boys. Like, I mean, if one of my boys, had a fucking anything wrong with them, I'm probably gonna know about it in 5 minutes, Yeah. But you never know how much to like dig into it. So I just kind of brushed it off and said, oh, that's cool. Yeah, you got some time off from work. That's great. Golf on Friday. So I see him on Thursday doing that, and I was like, that seems awkward. And I didn't want to go outside and be like, hey man, what's up? Or I didn't want to text him then. So I waited like an hour or so. And I texted him and said, hey, you still want to play golf tomorrow morning or afternoon, whenever, get 9 holes in? And he texted me back like 4 hours later and said, I'm having a medical emergency. I probably can't play golf tomorrow.
Wow.
So that's the second time you mentioned something about a medical issue, right? So then I'm thinking, okay, well, we had also been over at some friend's house in the neighborhood, and he was there, and we've got a friend with a projector on their back porch, and we were watching. It was like 4 or 5 grown-ass men watching Superbad together. We all hadn't seen it in forever and just thought it'd be fun to watch Superbad. And it's, by the way, holds up.
I watched it not too long ago. Badass. Still funny.
All the lines that everyone like quotes are great, but it's those lines that are in the movie throughout that you've forgotten about that you hear again that just will make you laugh your dick off.
Yeah, Jonah Hill's just nonstop in that regard. The one-liners,
It's great. So, but he had never invited me to something like that before, and I think they've done it previously. So I do that. They were hanging out again over the weekend at the pool, like I said. And then he invites us over to the Friday we were going to play golf, and we didn't because of the medical emergency. He invited the same group of guys over to his house Saturday night. We were at the CSU game, and I said, hey, we're at the CSU game, but, when I'm done there, I can come over and drink some beers and talk shit and do whatever. So we did that. I had to go inside his house for some reason. I had to take a piss or whatever I had to do. And I saw his wife inside and the door was shut. And I was like, hey, is he doing okay? And she said, no, but he's doing better with you all being here. And I thought, okay, well, that's the third time now that I've like broached the topic and I'm not getting anything from anybody. And so I've talked to my wife about it a little bit and she's like, you need to bring it up. Talk about it. And I said, but is that, what's the play? Because I feel like that's a thing that like, and I don't mean to be like misogynistic or say that men and women are different in certain areas, but I think that they are at some things.
Oh, they're definitely different in certain areas.
But like, is that a thing I should be? Do I need to like go over and like, dude, tell me what the hell's going on and stop just saying medical emergency and all this shit? Like, what the fuck do I do? What do you think's going on?
I mean, I'm not going to speculate. I mean, it could be anything, right? Sounds like it is pretty serious with the head in the hands and the fact that he's trying to bring all these people to be around him,
Oh,
But
he invited me to a happy hour at his house tonight.
yeah.
Again, another one.
Well, he is inviting you enough things, then you might be in a place now. I mean, it depends on how good your friendship is. It does sound like it's a new friendship, but I still think you let him bring it up. But you could just kind of broach like, hey, man, is everything okay? I think you could say something like that, but I wouldn't directly, discuss the matter. He's going to tell you when he's ready to tell you, I would think. You could dance around it, and he probably wants to talk about it. If he's bringing that many people around, then he could very well want to talk about it.
Yeah, I just got a weird vibe from his wife when she was like, no, but it's good that y'all are here. And so I talked with somebody else about it for just a minute, and I was just thinking, because, with mental health these days, I thought maybe he's just like, something's going on. He's nothing to be depressed about. He's seemingly on the outside anyway, like life's going pretty well. Like him and his wife have jobs. They live in a nice house, but you never know what's going on inside the walls. But friend was like speculating some other stuff I hadn't considered, like sicknesses and things like that, which I don't. I'm not saying he's got anything like that, but the way that he's like inviting people over is just weird. Not weird. Yeah, I don't mean to say weird, but
that's what immediately came to mind for me was that it sounds like a medical issue and it sounds like it's serious. But I don't know. Again, I don't think there's any point in speculating. Who knows? It could be a million different things.
Right.
But yeah, you definitely don't want to approach him, I don't think, and just dive right into, hey, I'm putting all these pieces together, and I don't think you're trying to do that. But I think if you're go out and have some beers and maybe just ask him if everything's okay.
Don't go hard and heavy. Let him sort of get into it.
Right, exactly. If he wants to talk about it, he'll talk to you about it. But yeah, man, that's pretty crazy. That's crazy that he was sitting there with his head in his hands that long. I mean, that's sad.
I didn't know what to do because, because again, if like you and I lived like where him and I lived together, and I saw you doing that, I would have just walked over and been like, "What's up, dude? Talk to me."
Yeah.
Or any of my like close friends, I'd be like, "Hey, let's go, let's talk, we're gonna work whatever this is. We'll figure it out." But it's like we're getting closer as friends, but at the same time, like we're not close enough. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. But yeah, I think, mental health is just one of those things. And if it is mental, and again, I'm not speculating, I'm not trying to say anything, but, something we can all probably work on in our lives, right?
Yeah, especially as you get older. It would have been really difficult to talk about that in my 20s or probably even 30s. But as you get older, and plus in this time period, like you said, a lot of, especially the younger generation, are very focused on that sort of thing.
Our parents sure as fuck weren't.
No. No.
I mean, I think we barely are.
Yeah, but I think we're a lot more. We're talking about our kids now. We're definitely much more aware of it and sensitive to it.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to bring up. Yeah, that's sort of what's going on in my personal life. I just wanted to get someone's opinion on it, and I think like I said, it could be helpful to other people to maybe figure out a game plan if you've got friends that are going through something like this, or have anybody in your life that you're not sure how to get into it. I just wanted some advice, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody should reach out to somebody they know. Don't hold it in. Talk about it. I know it's super difficult, but once you do start talking about it, it's gonna feel a lot better for sure.
Yeah,
and I could take that advice. We could all take that advice.
Yeah, I like to always, when I'm scrolling through my phone to find somebody's number for some reason, like a kid or whatever, like a kid's parent, I mean, like for a play date. Yeah,
Whoa.
I know. Yeah,
Mhm.
not, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all these kids in my phone.
All these kids' numbers in my phone I'm trying to find. But
Which one should I text?
yeah, my phone is, when I die, Steve, you're in charge of clearing out everything. Just smash
Okay.
everything. I don't get into the
Uh-huh.
mainframe. Is that a thing? I don't know. Destroy everything.
Uh-huh.
But no,
Yeah,
whenever
same
I'm
here, bud.
yeah. I'm your guy. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
Mhm.
I'll kill. Yeah, never mind. I won't say that. Clax, when you see that we're at the end, delete that part. What I just said. So I'm going through my phone and I'm trying to find like one of my kids' friends' like parents' number to be like, hey, we're gonna be at your party that we went to last year. I talk to you once a year. I'm just trying to find your number or whatever. And I scroll past a name I haven't talked to in a while. I usually just click on that person's name first and like throw them a text real quick and say, hey man, what's going on?
Good.
Something like that. It's
Good.
always nice to keep people in because sometimes you wonder if like they don't like you or if you're the one who's ignoring them. But I think it's always nice to just reach out to friends and just talk to them, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Even if
I
it's
don't do that enough.
Yeah, even if it's just saying, hey, like, you good? What's up? And not in a bad way. Just you cool?
Yeah. Or, send them a nude. That's what I usually do. It's a good icebreaker when you haven't seen somebody in a while.
Yeah, I got a thing on my phone the other day that said my memory is low. And I've got so many nudes from you
Mm-hmm.
that I'm trying to figure out how to get to the cloud.
Yeah, you should. You can share them with other people, too. It's all good.
Oh, I've started your OnlyFans already.
Okay. Yeah.
Or rate-
I'm showing it off for free. Might as well get paid for it.
It's like 3 cents a day. Crushing it.
Yes. All right,
That's-
buddy.
that's all I got today.
Let's wrap this up. It's been fun, though. Definitely interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll get into it next week. I think hopefully, if anybody hears this and wants to give us feedback, let us know. Good first episode, buddy.
Yeah. Good talk. Good talk.
All right, man, take it easy.
All right, bud. Later, Zane.
Peace.